everyone, it's Alexis with Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, how do you determine project priorities? So in determining project priorities, there's a few points that I'm going to share with you all that hopefully will help you in this process. Point number one is that project priorities shift. So this is a conversation that we're going to be having throughout the life cycle of the project. It's something that we'll be talking about as things change, as maybe issues come up. And so it's very important to have a good understanding that project priorities will likely shift. Establishing that at the onset of the project, point number two here, establishing at the onset of the project with the customer what the project priorities are, and also having that conversation allows them to get into the mindset of, as things are shifting, if things are coming up, that these are the kinds of things that they need to be considerate of and have in their mind in terms of how it may shift the priorities for themselves, because ultimately they are the ones who are shifting, or rather they are the ones who are determining what the project priorities are. Now, as we're having these conversations, we want to make sure that we're documenting what the resulting impacts could be, right? So getting into point number three, the types of questions that you'll want to ask when you're determining project priorities are going to be, what happens if our schedule slides by 2 weeks, if it slides by 3 weeks? Now, maybe this is not a conversation that anybody looks forward to having, because it almost sounds like we're saying, what if we don't, what if we don't do so well? What if our project goes off schedule? And there's a certain perception that could go into that. But it's very important, especially as a project manager, to have those open and honest conversations with your customer. And so this helps by, when you're having these conversations at the start of the project, asking those things like, what is the absolute end date for this project? And having an understanding of why is that, right? If we're working on a software project where the customer is moving from one system to another, then it could be that if the project goes off schedule by a certain number of weeks, they're going to be out of luck and they're not going to have a system that they're working on, right? And so that's going to be even more detrimental than the customer potentially working on the current system that they're working on today. So also having a good understanding of why the budget is where it's at, of why the target end date is what it is, right? Of why requirements are needed will also help you in having these conversations with your customers, so that you can be able to understand where there's maybe some flexibility in these various project constraints, and ultimately work with them to have an understanding of what the project priorities are that illustrate to them a successful project. This was a video answering the question, how do you determine project priorities? If you found it helpful, please do give this video a thumbs up. Also, feel free to leave me any questions below in the comments, and I will talk to you all in my next video.